All right. This is Troy J Robertson back with FabFitFun for episode 16, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap. Last night, it was Farroween. I usher in the morally corrupt Faye Resnick for a small cameo. We've got Kim Richards serving us her first interview look of the season. Lisa Rinna came for the Halloween costume to slay, and this was just a moment last night. Okay, people? As always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to FabFitFun's YouTube channel for tons more content on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills with me, Troy J Robertson, and lots of other great content on the YouTube channel from FabFitFun as well. Kyle Richards threw yet again another successful party at her house. I don't know what it is. I don't know how she pulls it off. I need to get on her team. I want her to throw my 30th birthday party in about 5 years. So let's get into it, shall we? Before we get into last night's It's a Look, we have a new interview look alert from Denise Richards. She's serving us mild pageant hair. It's a little bit big, but not Dallas big. And it was a soft, natural beat with this hot pink, silky, shiny dress or top or blouse on. It was such a good interview look for her. It was just very natural glam. It wasn't over the top. So kudos to team Denise Richards. That was a great look. But last night's It's a Look is going to have to go to anyone who knows me knows I love big hair, especially big half up, half down hair. So it's gonna come as no surprise that this week's It's a Look goes to, drum roll please, Kyle Richards for that Playboy bunny sex appeal realness. She had the bunny ears, she had the cottontail, she had the leotard onesie. Even after a major wardrobe malfunction, Kyle Richards pulled that look off. So kudos to you, Kyle. You were literally the definition of hot last night. Hot to trot. Last night's quote of the night, listen, I was really trying to scrounge up a quote. 45 minutes of the episode goes by and I've got nothing. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't have anything that I can even bring to the table. I'm gonna have to come up with something mediocre or come up with something I liked previously in this season or something from seasons past. Like I had nothing until Dorit brought me this wonderful hard-hitting read against Camille as Camille walked in as Catwoman, not a stray cat, but Catwoman. So Dorit's statement towards Camille in Dorit's interview as Camille came in as Catwoman was, "Where do you buy a mask that covers both of your faces?" I was speechless, jaw to the floor. I got no words. That was quick. Dorit, we didn't always get along in the past, but I've really enjoyed some of your one-liners this season, and that one was probably the best. Troy's titillating topics. Topic number 1. Although LVP did not make an appearance on last night's episode, she was a small topic of discussion for the first 5 to 7 minutes before the interview break. The ladies were having breakfast after Camille's wedding, and some of them asked if LVP reached out to her and wished her any congratulations on her wedding day, to which Camille said, "I have seen no messages from her." She didn't say no, she just said, "There are no messages that I've seen thus far." Then the ladies let everyone know or discuss the fact that she did tweet the day of Camille's wedding or around Camille's wedding. I don't know the exact date of that timestamp, but she said something to which it prioritized the importance of the Dodgers game over Camille's wedding. Even though when she told Camille she wasn't going to be going to her wedding, she professed a lot of regret in not being able to be there to see her get married. So basically what the tweet said was, now on to more important things, the Dodgers game. And it was around the time of Camille's wedding, so it kind of alluded to the fact that Camille's wedding wasn't as important as the Dodgers game. So was this just coincidental, or was this, as Rinna said, a little bit shady? I want you guys to tell me down below, what do you think? Was it just a coincidence, or was it a little bit shady? Topic number 2, Kyle Richards' Halloween costume costing as much as a month's worth of rent for me. We've got $615 for a lingerie onesie. We've got $45 for a cotton ball stuffed right on her behind. I don't know how much the bunny ears cost. All I know is this: That's a lot of money for not a lot to be covered up. You looked stunning, but what a price tag. Topic number 3. This is more of a question, a query, if you will, than a topic, but can we just Uber everything these days? Like, you know, a couple of seasons ago on New York, we had Dorinda have an Uber go pick up her clothes to bring them to her in Vermont on a snow trip when she forgot to pack all of her luggage. And last night's episode, Mauricio sent an Uber to pick up the correct size lingerie for Kyle's Halloween costume. Like, is Uber just like a delivery service? Does it not just have to cargo people? It can cargo anything? I need somebody to answer this for me because this could be a game changer. I know we've got Uber for people, we've got Uber Eats, but can Uber just run my errands? Can I just give them my CVS coupons and they can just go pick up my stuff there for me? I need somebody to let me know down below. Stat. Let's get into this week's recap. So between the brunch leaving Hawaii and the bus ride to the airport, an article has been posted by People magazine, and Rinna is discussing this, and basically what the article is Camille going to kind of bat for Lisa, professing how much she loves and adores her and how much she's been there for her. And then she's professing her love and support for her as well in their friendship. But moments prior, we have Camille saying it was a little bit sad that she didn't show up. It was a bit of an ouchie. We obviously have all these interview looks that I've already discussed and we've already talked about, where she has gone back and forth between her stance on the entire topic. Lisa Rinna makes a really good statement, and that is, you know, it's difficult to trust, or I don't like people that talk out of both sides of their neck. And I think that when you are being filmed, you have to be a little bit more conscious on your stance on things, because the cameras are going to pick up things that you don't realize. And I mean, Team Camille is going to have to do a lot of backtracking this season. Then we have Rinna finishing everything, you know, with her classic life motto: Camille needs to start owning her now. Then Rinna spills the beans and lets Dorit know a very summarized or blurbed version of the things that Camille had been saying about her months prior. And Dorit's saying, like, listen, we made up in the Bahamas, then you invite me to these things, I invite you to these things, we've said we want to move forward, but then you're still talking all this smack about me. And I mean, it's like I've been saying for a couple of episodes now. Come reunion time, Camille's gonna be very busy. Camille is going to need to see a speechwriter, a life coach. She's gonna have to get her goals in order. She's gonna have to do a T-chart and do her pros and cons. Like, she is going to really have to prepare like for a presidential debate for this reunion, because Camille's gonna be busy. She is going to be in the hot seat. We're gonna see the steam coming out from underneath that rear, because she has gone back and forth so much this season. And what I think is, and I do not know this, but what I think is that she has filmed many seasons as a friend of the Housewives. I think that this season she did a lot more interviews, or more interviews made it into the season than were needed before. So on a production standpoint, when Lisa Vanderpump kind of stopped filming, we couldn't keep talking about that drama. We needed different drama to kind of like circulate in through that a little bit. And so instead of cutting some of her interviews out like they might have done in the past, which they didn't need, I think that they kept a lot of them, and I don't think she was prepared for that. I don't think that she thought as many interview confession statements were going to make it off the cutting room floor and into the actual footage of this season. So I don't know. I think, like I said, Camille is going to be very, very busy at this reunion. Before we get into too much of the Halloween party, I want to talk about the lighting in Kyle Richards' bathroom and how I need it. The lighting in front of her vanity was literally what anyone dreams of while getting ready. Like, it was heavenly. I need it now. The Farroween party had a little bit of drama that was much needed. But aside from the drama, one of my favorite moments is when they all get on the Ferris wheel. Get it? Play on words, Ferris wheel. Kyle gets on there with her sister, Kim, because Kim has made her full-blown scene for this season. Like, she shows up for the party. She comes out of the bushes like a phoenix out of the ashes and, you know, surprises her sister. So they get on the Ferris wheel, and you know, Kyle's having an anxiety attack. She has this Ferris wheel at her party, but then she's having an anxiety attack like we would expect from her. And she's talking about, I don't know how they put this thing together. Kim, if you keep leaning forward, we're gonna fly out. Who knows if they missed a screw or two? To which I say, Kyle, I think the only screw missing are the ones in your head, because you were manic on this Ferris wheel, and like any other time when you are manic, it is something I adore because I can relate to it so much. So the only screws missing on that Ferris wheel were the ones up in everyone's heads. Okay. Denise Richards and Kim Richards getting into it. This was something that we've seen in the previews all season long, so I've been anticipating this. Basically, we're bringing up the bunny from the reunion 2 seasons ago with Kim and Lisa Rinna, after Lisa Rinna, is acting like Erica Jane and basically says, she brings it up. She opens up the door for this, and it made a really awkward moment for some of the ladies. Then Kim Richards is kind of, discussing it with Denise and some of the ladies. Denise feels as though she needs to go to bat for Lisa Rinna because Lisa Rinna has been a good friend and has been there for her. And so Denise basically ends this with saying, who cares about some fuzzy bunny? I mean, the scene was definitely portrayed in some of the previews for the season as a little bit better than it actually was. But what I will say about this is that I'm glad that Denise finally had a little bit of a tense moment. There were moments where I feel like in the beginning with some scenes with LVP, where I feel like she was trying to get into the middle of it. This one seemed a little bit more genuine. So I'm glad that she stood her ground. I'm also glad that she was able to stick up for Lisa Rinna in this. And all in all, Lisa Rinna saying what she said to Kim in front of the ladies was needed because it was needed for her and Kim to move past things. And Kim, in an interview, brought up a really good point, and she was like, listen, the bunny represented more than just a fuzzy bunny for my grandson. It was a bunch of bad things that had occurred that season where Lisa Rinna and I filmed. And I just can't believe we're still talking about this bunny. Like, I literally can't believe it. This bunny is iconic, it's monumental, and at the end of the day, it is just a bunny, but it is the bunny has been thematic. It's been very thematic in Kim Richards and Lisa Rinna's relationship because it was such a dramatic moment when Kim handed it back to her at the reunion 2 seasons ago. Okay, let's get into this week's Rose and Thorn. This week's Rose is Kim Richards getting her first interview look. And let me just say, the first interview look for Kim Richards is exactly what I would want from her, and it's her signature eye roll. They had to have placed it, I think, in the time where her and Lisa Rinna first bumped into each other at the party, and Kim Richards is known for a really expressionful eye roll, and it didn't need, the first interview look she had was just this little clip. It didn't need words. It was literally just her signature eye roll. And so thank you for that, Kim Richards. Thank you for not changing anything since you've been on this season as a full-time cast member. And then this week's Thorn is, I feel like Lisa Rinna has been very fair or unbiased this season, and I feel like she's been pretty level. Like, she's been just very fair and very un-Rinna, if you will. Last season, a lot of the viewers felt like she was too zen. In seasons past, she was too harsh. I felt like a majority of this season, she has been very, very just normal level entertaining. And then she had to go and, use the C word, and yes, it was a bad joke. It was a joke. I just think it was really tactless, and she probably didn't think it all the way through. I just feel like it stained a little bit of, her persona this season. So I wish it wouldn't have happened, but I also think it needed to happen for her and Kim to get to that point where they could sit down, forgive each other, and hug it out. So it was a thorn, but it also sprouted a rose, kind of. This is Troy J Robertson with FabFitFun. Make sure to tune in every single week, subscribe, hit that bell so you can get notifications, and I will see you all here next week for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap with me. Over and out.